AITA for refusing to let my coworker borrow my car ever again after what she did. So I, 29F, work abroad, think office of expats and locals all crammed together in one big open-plan nightmare. I've been here about 2 years. I don't have family in this country, but my coworkers are basically my social circle. We go out for drinks, complain about the boss, share memes during meetings, etc. One of those coworkers, Lena, 33F, joined about 6 months ago. At first, she was great. Kind of the cool older sister type, confident, chatty, always has a story about some wild weekend or some crazy ex. You know the type. We clicked quickly, especially because we both live outside the city center and commute in. Anyway, a few months ago, Lena's car broke down. Like, totally dead. She said her engine basically melted. I don't speak car. It was a huge deal because she lives about 40 minutes away and public transport here is, let's say, optimistically unreliable. Buses that just don't come sometimes. So she comes into work one morning looking stressed as hell. Says she's not sure how she's even going to make it to the office until her car's fixed. I felt bad. I have a small car, nothing fancy, just a little silver hatchback, but it's reliable. And since we'd become friendly, I said something along the lines of, "Hey, if you need to borrow mine for a couple of days, I don't mind." Lena lit up like I'd offered her a kidney. "Seriously, you do that?" And me, being the idiot that I am, said, "Yeah, sure, just a few days though." She promised to fill up the tank, get it washed, take good care of it, all that. Honestly, I didn't even hesitate. I figured, it's just for the week, she's responsible enough, and it's nice to help someone out. Famous last words. The first red flag should have been how long she took to come pick it up. I told her she could grab it after work Monday. She shows up Tuesday evening instead, all smiles and excuses about crazy traffic, and my mechanic called at the worst possible time. Okay, whatever. Then a few days turned into 10. She kept texting me like, "Hey, mind if I hang on to it another day? They ordered the wrong part." Or, "My mechanic says it's done tomorrow for sure." It was always tomorrow. I didn't push it because she acted apologetic and I didn't need the car right that moment. When she finally brought it back, oh my God. I swear it looked like it had gone on a spring break road trip through a McDonald's parking lot. There were empty fast food bags, crumbs everywhere, a sticky soda spill on the passenger seat, and somehow sand in the back seat. We live nowhere near a beach, so that one still haunts me. And the gas tank empty. She had told me she'd top it off, but the light was literally on. I tried to keep calm. I said something like, "Hey, I noticed the tank's empty, no big deal, but could you Venmo me what it costs to fill it?" She laughed, and said, "Oh, come on, it's just a car. Don't be so uptight." Excuse me. That's when I decided, never again. A few days later, I heard from another coworker that Lena was telling people I was stingy and cold because I made such a big deal out of her borrowing my car. Apparently, she said I was classist for caring about a few crumbs. For the record, I'm solidly middle class and she makes more than I do. Now people at work were side-eyeing me, like I'd overreacted. One person even said, "You could have just let it go, she's had a rough time." But I feel completely disrespected. She trashed my car, broke our agreement, and is now bad-mouthing me. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to ever let her borrow my car again. Update 1. Wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up like it did. I honestly thought maybe 20 people would say NTA and move on, but nope. I woke up to hundreds of comments, DMs, and even some coworkers sending me the link awkward. So, here's what's happened since I posted. A few days after I put up my original post, Lena made another passive-aggressive comment in the break room. She said something like, "Some people act all generous until they remember they care more about crumbs than people." I didn't even respond right away because, what do you even say to that? But later, when we were alone, I told her I wasn't mad about her borrowing the car. I was mad about how she treated it and how she acted afterward. Her exact words, "Oh my God, you're seriously still talking about this. It's been weeks." I said, "Well, yeah, because you're still bringing it up to other people." She rolled her eyes and muttered, "You're so sensitive," then walked away. At that point, I decided to stop engaging altogether. I didn't talk to her unless it was strictly work-related. But of course, she noticed that too and told a few others that I was icing her out and making the office uncomfortable. I found out through another coworker, bless him, that she'd been telling people I was classist, again, because not everyone can afford to care about car messes, as if cleaning up after yourself is a privilege. That's when I went to HR, not to file a complaint or anything dramatic. I just wanted to document that she'd been spreading stuff about me that was affecting the team. HR was actually really understanding. They said they'd speak with her about professionalism. After that, she stopped trash-talking me out loud. Or maybe she just got better at whispering. Either way, I thought the drama was over. Spoiler, it was. Update 2. So, remember how I thought HR talking to Lena would be the end of it? Yeah, about that. Turns out Lena's behavior didn't stop. It just shifted. She wasn't making snide comments about me anymore, at least not publicly. But I started hearing whispers that she'd borrowed stuff from other people too. Like my coworker Dan mentioned over coffee that Lena had asked to borrow his car the week before. I literally almost spit my cappuccino out. I said, "Dan, please, tell me you didn't." And he goes, "Well, she said you were fine with it before, so I figured it was no big deal." Oh my God. She was using me as her reference. Anyway, a few days later, Dan's car comes back with a dent in the back bumper. She claims, "Oh, that was already there, right?" But Dan has one of those dash cams that records both front and back, and guess what? It happened while she was driving it. He showed me the footage. It's clearly her reveering into a low wall, then getting out, checking it, shrugging, and driving away. No call, no text, nothing. Dan ended up reporting it to HR, because it technically happened on a day she was using it for a work errand. We're supposed to use taxis and expense them, not personal cars. And guess who HR calls in again? Yep, me. They asked if I could confirm that I'd also had issues lending her my car. I just said, "Yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up again, but yeah." She returned it dirty, empty, and disrespected the boundaries. Apparently, Dan wasn't the only one. Another coworker said she'd borrowed his power bank and lost it. Someone else said she'd asked to borrow a desk plant for her apartment and never brought it back. So, HR issued her an official written warning for unprofessional conduct and misuse of colleague property. I didn't want that for her. I just wanted to move on, but honestly, it felt like karma. After that, she was furious, like silent treatment levels of angry. She stopped talking to me completely, which was honestly a huge relief. But she'd still do little things like roll her chair loudly whenever I was on a call, or accidentally take the last coffee pod after I'd mentioned I was going to grab one. Petty stuff. The thing is, I didn't even care anymore. I had my peace. My car was clean again, my conscience clear. Then something funny happened. A new coworker joined our team. Let's call her Sophia. She's young, fresh out of college, super friendly. And Lena immediately latched onto her. Started taking her to lunch, chatting nonstop, being her work buddy. I didn't say anything, not my business. But after about 2 weeks, Sophia comes up to me and goes, "Hey, random question, would you ever lend your car to Lena?" I literally burst out laughing. She laughed too, like, "Okay, that's a no." I told her, I'd rather walk barefoot across hot pavement than lend her my car again. Apparently, Lena had already asked to borrow Sophia's car because hers was acting up again. Guess she didn't learn the first 3 times. Final update. Okay, so here's the end of the saga, thankfully. A few months have passed since all that drama, and the office has chilled out a lot. Lena, been quiet. Not friendly quiet, more like, I'm pretending everyone else doesn't exist quiet. But hey, silence is peace. Then about 3 weeks ago, HR sent out a company-wide email reminding everyone about respecting personal and company property. No names, of course, but everyone knew. The same week, Lena came in looking pissed. Rumor has it she got caught using the company car, which is reserved for business travel only, to run her own errands, like personal grocery trips and maybe a beach weekend. Remember the sand I found in my car? Starting to add up. HR did a full investigation, and apparently this was her final strike. She was let go a week later. No one said anything out loud, but the vibe in the office the day after was relieved, like someone had lifted a weird cloud off the place. I didn't celebrate or anything. I genuinely hope she figures herself out, but I can't pretend I wasn't a little vindicated. The funniest part? The new coworker, Sophia, came by my desk last week and said, "You were so right," then handed me a coffee and said, "To clean cars and peaceful mornings," face with tears of joy. Now when new hires come in and someone mentions lending stuff out, people just go, "Don't pull a Lena." It's kind of become an inside joke. And honestly, I've learned a huge lesson from this. If someone shows you they don't respect boundaries once, don't give them a second chance. I don't think I'm petty. I think I just finally realized that being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. So yeah, that's the story of how lending my car turned into the weirdest office saga of my life. TLDR, I lent my coworker my car, she trashed it, lied, then did the same thing to others. HR got involved, she got fired, and now "don't pull a Lena" is office slang for don't be entitled.